He walked into the Alaska summit not just as a former president, but as a billionaire brand wrapped in gold, guarded like a king and followed like a storm. But what's the real cost behind the armored limos, private jets, and that legendary Trump yacht? And why did Putin ride shotgun in his limo with 0 translators? Stay until the end. You'll see the one asset Trump owns that even Putin flinched at. Alaska summit, diplomacy or display? When Donald Trump landed in Anchorage for the summit with Vladimir Putin, it wasn't diplomacy, it was theater. The tarmac was lined with synchronized military jets, the red carpet was rolled out to precision, and within moments the two men, one former US president, the other a sitting Russian leader, were photographed stepping into Trump's custom armored limousine. No translators, no aides, just two of the world's most polarizing figures, sealed inside a bulletproof capsule, with the world left to wonder what was being said and what wasn't. While critics scrambled to analyze the policy takeaways, it became clear there were none. There was no ceasefire agreement, no trade breakthrough, no signed communique. But that was never the point. For Trump, this wasn't a political negotiation, it was a personal resurrection. After months of media silence and legal headlines, the Alaska summit became a rebranding moment. Wasn't Trump the politician on display, it was Trump the billionaire, the negotiator, the power broker, stepping back into the spotlight on his own terms. The spectacle was deliberately choreographed. Airspace over Anchorage was temporarily restricted. A convoy of bulletproof Cadillac Escalades, mirroring presidential motorcades, followed Trump from the airstrip to the summit hall. Russian and American intelligence alike were reported to be monitoring encrypted frequencies, trying to decode signals not just of security, but of symbolism. The summit room itself was sealed, heavily guarded, and equipped with white noise machines to deter surveillance, an added layer to the drama. But none of that caught public imagination like the optics of Putin riding in Trump's own limo, a move that hadn't happened even during official state visits while Trump was president. The images went viral within minutes, and with them so did renewed interest in Trump's billionaire infrastructure, his luxury jets, security detail, real estate empire, and political alliances. This was no ordinary post-presidency meeting. It was a calculated reminder that Trump doesn't need office to wield influence, he just needs a stage. And Alaska, for one cold day in August, became that global stage. Comment no translators if this summit felt more like a power play than a peace talk. The real net worth dilemma. Donald Trump's net worth has always been more than a number, it's a weapon. Publicly he claims it hovers between $5.6 and $6.6 billion, a fortune built on skyscrapers, golf courses, hotels, and licensing deals that stretch from Manhattan to the Scottish Highlands. But behind that imposing valuation lies a maze of discrepancies, inflated appraisals, and brand-driven mystique that even seasoned analysts struggle to untangle. According to Forbes, his wealth is closer to $2.5 billion, while internal Trump Organization documents have placed it far higher, depending on the audience, the year, and the political season. The crown jewels of his empire are clear: Trump Tower in New York, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, the Trump National Doral Golf Resort in Miami, valued at roughly $250 million, and sprawling golf properties in Bedminster, Doonbeg, and Turnberry. These are not just business assets, they are stages. Each location is engineered to host power, capture headlines, and project a mythos of unshakable dominance. The brand alone, Trump in gold block letters, has been valued in the hundreds of millions, though exact figures fluctuate wildly depending on who's doing the estimating. But the most intriguing part of Trump's net worth isn't the assets, it's the ambiguity. In courtrooms, his legal teams argue for lower valuations to reduce tax burdens. On campaign trails, the same properties triple in worth. Trump once famously claimed a building's value included the intangible premium of his own presence, an idea both mocked and marveled at. Even the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., sold in 2022 for an estimated $375 million, came with debates about whether the brand added or subtracted value in a polarized political climate. What's undeniable is how this fluctuating fortune has been woven into his political and personal identity. Trump doesn't just use wealth to live, he uses it to persuade, intimidate, and negotiate. Whether sitting at a marble conference table in the 26th floor of Trump Tower or hosting world leaders at Mar-a-Lago's gilded dining room, every decision is framed by affluence. Critics see exaggeration, supporters see success, but both sides agree on one thing: Trump has mastered the art of making wealth itself a headline. In his world, valuation isn't just accounting, it's storytelling. And every billion is another chapter. Inside Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower. When Donald Trump left the White House, he didn't just disappear into retirement. He stepped into one of the most expensive homes in America. Mar-a-Lago, now valued at over $350 million, isn't merely a Florida estate. It's a billionaire's bunker, laced in gold, marble, and political symbolism. Originally constructed in the 1920s with no expense spared, the property features 126 rooms, a private oceanfront, and a ballroom dripping in 24-karat gold leaf, renovated to match Trump's signature aesthetic. But its true value isn't just in luxury, it's in utility. Since leaving office, Mar-a-Lago has doubled as his personal residence and his post-presidency command center, hosting megadonna dinners, legal war rooms, and shadow cabinet meetings behind velvet curtain doors. Yet, Mar-a-Lago is only one half of the empire. The other rises in polished black steel above Manhattan, Trump Tower, worth an estimated $400 million. When it opened in 1983, it was more than just a skyscraper. It was a statement. Sitting on prime Fifth Avenue real estate, the tower houses luxury residences, corporate offices, and retail spaces with brands like Gucci anchoring its lobby. But the real jewel lies in the penthouse. Stretching across 3 floors and featuring Versace-style interiors, the suite includes floor-to-ceiling windows with skyline views, diamond-encrusted chandeliers, and golden columns inspired by European palaces. The decor isn't subtle, it's scripted. Every inch serves a purpose: to project power, exclusivity, and old-world wealth fused with American bravado. Trump's decision to change his primary residence from New York to Florida wasn't just emotional, it was tactical. Florida has no state income tax, unlike New York, which imposes one of the highest in the nation. Combined with Florida's favorable asset protection laws, this move potentially saves him $10 million annually while shielding key assets from litigation. The legal maneuver, though challenged by Palm Beach officials citing zoning restrictions, ultimately held thanks to careful wording, political influence, and a decades-old easement he leveraged in his favor. What we're seeing isn't just real estate, it's a billion-dollar infrastructure built to sustain influence far beyond any election cycle. In Trump's world, property isn't where you live, it's how you dominate. Trump Force One, the $100 million jet. Long before the Alaska summit made headlines, the sound of twin Rolls-Royce engines roaring above Anchorage signaled something far more calculated than a typical landing. It was Trump Force One, a heavily customized Boeing 757 worth an estimated $100 million, slicing through the sky like a flying message. Trump never really left. The aircraft's sudden reappearance, after years of being grounded and undergoing multi-million-dollar upgrades, wasn't just logistical, it was theatrical. Inside, it's less jet and more Versace-styled fortress in the sky. Every detail screams opulence. Gold-plated bathroom fixtures, suede leather seats embroidered with the Trump family crest, polished wood paneling that would make a Gulfstream blush, and a private cinema suite for mid-air briefings or entertainment. The aircraft has the bones of a commercial airliner, but has been re-engineered to serve as an airborne base of operations. With anti-surveillance encryption systems, secure communication lines, and a cockpit hardened like military-grade aircraft, this jet blurs the line between luxury and executive warfare. But the real story unfolded 30,000 feet above political symbolism. As Putin's delegation touched down at Joint Base Elmendorf-Friedrichshafen in a standard Ilyushin, Trump's Boeing orbited the Alaskan airspace, visibly, strategically. It was a visual cue designed for cameras, headlines, and interpretation. The aircraft's sudden overhead presence triggered radar tracking by hobbyists and journalists alike, and within minutes, Trump Force One hashtag was trending on X. But jet also plays a deeper role in Trump's ecosystem. It's not just about transport, it's about dominance. Trump could have flown in a Gulfstream. Instead, he chose a commercial-sized airliner retrofitted into a golden fortress. The message is unmistakable: size matters, aesthetics matter, and control, especially above the clouds, is everything. The aircraft doubles as a psychological lever, reminding political players and audiences alike that Trump still has the means, the infrastructure, and the flair to command attention on a global scale. Even post-presidency, the jet continues to be stored in climate-controlled hangars, maintained by a dedicated team and fueled by private wealth and campaign optics alike. When it flies, it's not random, it's strategic. Comment Sky Power if you think this jet wasn't just transportation, but a statement. Supercars, armored limos, and the gold motorcycle. When Trump arrived at the Alaska summit, it wasn't just about the jet, it was about the landing, because what rolled up next wasn't a standard presidential SUV, it was a bulletproof Cadillac Escalade, matte black, armored to withstand ballistic impact, and trailed by an identical decoy vehicle to confuse onlookers and potential threats. Inside, the upholstery was custom-fitted in deep burgundy leather, stitched with the Trump crest, and beneath the seat, a secure briefcase docked hardwired into military-grade comms. But the Escalade is just one member of a fleet designed not only for transportation, but for narrative control. Trump's automotive collection, estimated to exceed $10 million in total value, is a curated mix of legacy, intimidation, and symbolism. Parked beneath Trump Tower, or quietly transferred to Mar-a-Lago, depending on the season, the fleet includes a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a personal favorite. The car, with its signature Starlight headliner and whisper-quiet cabin, is often photographed gliding past Fifth Avenue as if hovering above noise. Its value? Around $550,000, without the undisclosed security modifications. But contrast is the theme in Trump's garage. Alongside European elegance sits brute American power, a Chevrolet Suburban retrofitted with riot control glass, and a Ford F-550 tactical response truck, rumored to be used during high-risk appearances. And then, something no one expects, the gold Harley-Davidson. Yes, a motorcycle hand-dipped in gold-tone plating, gifted to him during his early campaign days. It has rarely been seen in motion, but frequently photographed in the Trump Tower garage like a trophy from a different life. Loud, unfiltered, and unapologetic. One of the most controversial additions? A Tesla Roadster, customized in black matte finish with reinforced panels. The presence of an EV might raise eyebrows, especially given Trump's outspoken stance on environmental policies. But that's precisely the point. In Trump's world, contradictions don't weaken narrative, they feed it. Every vehicle, from the Lamborghini Diablo once loaned for a photo app to the vintage Mercedes-Benz S600 Pullman, serves as either a tool for message delivery or a decoy to misdirect it. This isn't just a car collection, it's a rolling portfolio of wealth, unpredictability, and precision. And when Trump steps out of one, cameras don't just click, they calculate. The Trump Princess, floating billionaire theater. Once named Nabila, the yacht was already legendary. A 282-foot floating palace originally commissioned by Saudi arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi at the height of 1,980 petro wealth. But when Donald Trump acquired it in 1987, he didn't just buy a yacht, he inherited a stage. He renamed it the Trump Princess, upgraded it with his signature taste for excess, and turned it into the sea-bound equivalent of Mar-a-Lago. The price? A reported $29 million, though Trump claimed he got a deal. In his words, he wasn't just buying steel and teak, he was buying history. The interiors were reimagined in full Trumpian flair. Think Versace silk paneling, 24-carat fixtures, and a custom Steinway grand piano housed in a private music salon that doubled as a high-level meeting room. There were 11 staterooms, multiple salons, and a gilded cinema room wired with top-tier analog security. The Trump Princess wasn't just a yacht. It was a moving piece of brand theater. It docked in Manhattan and Miami, visible from the waterline like a floating press release, and hosted closed-door meetings with Wall Street players, campaign insiders, and foreign investors behind mirrored glass. The helipad was installed for discreet arrivals, staff uniforms were customized, and rumor has it the yacht even featured a vault below deck, partially armored, climate-controlled, and accessible only via biometric lock. Whether it ever held cash, documents, or memorabilia is known only to a handful. What's certain is that this wasn't just a pleasure vessel. It was an instrument designed to project power at sea the same way Trump Tower does from Fifth Avenue. Although the Trump Princess was later sold and renamed, its influence didn't evaporate, it was absorbed. The brand aura lives on in every photo op of Trump against the yacht's mahogany railings, in every gossip column entry about rumored meetings at sea, and in every whispered anecdote from donors who were once flown in by helicopter to dine aboard a gilded deck under the moonlight. In the world of billionaires, yachts are not transportation. They are isolation chambers, leverage points, and floating megaphones. And this one, the Trump Princess, wasn't just another boat. It was Trump's maritime empire, built not just to cruise the Mediterranean, but to navigate perception itself. Sikorsky Security, helicopters with misdirection. From the moment Trump stepped onto the tarmac at Palm Beach International, it was already impossible to know which helicopter he'd actually board. That's the point. One Sikorsky S-76 fires up first. A second chopper mirrors it, blades slicing air in sync. A third, black-tinted, running silent, hovers in the hangar like a shadow waiting for its cue. For most billionaires, private helicopters are status symbols. For Donald Trump, they're tactical weapons. Deployed not just for mobility, but for psychological warfare. The Sikorsky S-76 is no ordinary aircraft. Used by CEOs, heads of state, and special forces, it combines luxury with stealth. The interior of Trump's variant is soundproofed, insulated with leather paneling in cream and navy, complete with Rolls-Royce-designed twin engines and encrypted communications hardwired into the cockpit and rear cabin. This isn't about flying in comfort. It's about flying without being seen, heard, or tracked. A new S-76 costs around $15 million, but once customized with security countermeasures and branding elements, including the gold T crest stitched onto each headrest, the real price becomes more elusive. Trump uses these birds like chess pieces. One lifts off from Mar-a-Lago, a second peels off from a golf course in Bedminster. The decoys fly formation before splitting mid-air, some flaring out toward New York Harbor, others west over the Everglades. Meanwhile, the actual bird carrying the former president veers low over the Atlantic, escorted by digital jamming support from ground units in Palm Beach County. The Secret Service calls it inverted tracking, but Trump's inner circle simply refers to it as ghosting. The helicopters are used most heavily during high-risk windows, like after indictments, major rallies, or unplanned meetings with foreign dignitaries. They allow Trump to vanish from view without ever leaving the mainland. One moment, he's visible through a hangar window. The next, the entire fleet disappears into the haze over I-95, replaced by confusion, speculation, and camera drones guessing which dot in the sky carries the real story. More than jets, more than cars, helicopters give Trump tactical dominance. On the ground, he's surrounded by cameras. In the air, he controls the narrative, and with every liftoff, he's not just escaping traffic, he's escaping predictability. For someone who thrives on spectacle, but survives on misdirection, the Sikorsky fleet isn't just transport, it's camouflage with rotor blades. The billion-dollar bubble, security as a brand. When the Alaska summit was announced, the world prepared for diplomacy. Trump's team prepared for a battleground. For most leaders, security is logistics. For Donald Trump, it's a performance. A billion-dollar choreography, where every bulletproof glass panel, every surveillance drone, and every armed convoy becomes part of the narrative. The perimeter at Anchorage included under-vehicle scanners, EMF-blocking tents, drone jammers, and even foreign intelligence monitors, not to observe threats, but to observe the security apparatus itself. That's how far Trump's brand of protection goes. Even the watchers are watched. The Secret Service isn't just a line of defense. In Trump's world, it's a symbol of status, vulnerability, and dominance. Dozens of agents rotate shifts across Mar-a-Lago, Bedminster, and Trump Tower. At any moment, they carry biometric-linked sidearms, radio scramblers, and real-time satellite feeds. Their SUVs are fitted with run-flat tires, oxygen tanks, and medical trauma kits, because when Trump moves, he doesn't just travel, he mobilizes a portable fortress. But the public detail is only half the equation. Trump supplements this with a private security unit, former Mossad advisors, digital counter-surveillance experts, and ex-military tacticians who operate with budgets that stretch well into the tens of millions annually. These are the men behind the glass, the ones without name tags, who blur the lines between contractor and intelligence asset. Their goal? One thing: Make sure Trump is never in a room he didn't choose, on a route he didn't approve, or in a position he can't control. Every rally, court appearance, or diplomatic handshake is a test of the system. Convoy routes are changed last minute. Decoy cars double back to throw off drones. Agents swap positions mid-walk to confuse long-lens cameras. Nothing is left to chance. Not because Trump is paranoid, but because the spectacle of invincibility is part of the brand. Security isn't an accessory, it's a statement. In Trump's orbit, if it doesn't cost millions, it probably isn't secure enough. And when the lights flash and the SUVs roll in, you're not just watching a man arrive. You're witnessing a billion-dollar illusion unfold in real time. Comment fortress mode if you'd want this kind of protection. From Mar-a-Lago chandeliers to the stealth code decoy helicopters, Donald Trump's lifestyle is a blend of spectacle and strategy, built not just to impress, but to dominate headlines, deals, and diplomacy. Whether it's a floating palace once owned by a Saudi arms dealer, or a $100 million jet gliding above the Alaska summit, his billionaire life isn't just luxury, it's leverage. If this peek into power, privacy, and post-presidential precision gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get ready, because what's coming next might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about political wealth.